Marvel and writer Dan Slott just introduced a brand new Spider-Verse character named SpiderBoy, and it seems they're saying he's been the sidekick of Peter Parker forever, but Parker doesn't remember. Let's talk about it. Yes, there is a brand new character in Marvel Comics who, according to the recent storyline, has been retroactively baked into all of Spider-Man's continuity. But the thing is, Peter and everyone else can't remember who he is. But fear not, we're going to break down everything we know about this brand new character thus far. Now, first and foremost, when you say SpiderBoy, a lot of us longtime comic book readers automatically think of SpiderBoy from the 90s amalgam Marvel DC crossover event. In the crossover event, Ben Reilly's Spider-Man and Superboy merged to create an entirely new character called SpiderBoy. And as you can imagine, this character was extremely powerful. He was able to climb walls not by sticking to them, but by controlling and focusing his personal gravity, using this to walk up walls and jump extremely high and far distances. He also has a futuristic gun called a web shooter that fired artificial webbing. But either way, this was a non-canon Marvel Spider-Boy, but it was the closest thing we had up until now, as the real Spider-Boy in Marvel continuity just debuted in Dan Slott's Spider-Man issue 7. You see, at the end of the newest Spider-Verse storyline, which recently wrapped up, the spider totems that were cut from the Web of Destiny by the Totem Dagger had been returned to the main 616 Marvel continuity. Confusing, I know, but just stay with me. Because of this, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, and Spider-Woman returned coming out of the Totem Dagger, with everyone remembering them having been returned to the Web of Destiny. But there was a fourth Spider-Verse character to pop out of the dagger, and Ariana says in Spider-Man issue 7, there was one last spider who was separate from the Great Web. I can bring him back, but honestly, I have no memory of him whatsoever. At that moment, Spider-Boy pops out with all the other spider heroes saying, "Who is he? I've never seen him before. Which Earth is he from?" The kid then answers, "What are you talking about? I'm from right here. It's me, Spider-Boy." They still don't remember him. He then says, "Peter, Miles, hello, we've been on a million adventures together. Guys, you know me, it's Bailey," but no one can remember who the heck he is. Getting fed up, he says, "Really? After everything I've done? You know what? Screw all of you. I'm out," as he just spider jumps away. So how crazy is this? He's a new character to us and everyone else, but from what Spider-Boy is saying, he's been on a million adventures with both Peter and Miles, as he's from Earth 616. Yet for some reason, none of these Spider-Verse characters or us have ever seen or heard of him before. Which is really cool. I love when writers introduce new characters, but write them like they've always been there. Basically like what Scott Snyder did with the Court of Owls. Brand new concept and Batman villains, but wrote them as if they were always part of Batman's continuity and mythos lurking in the shadows. From here, we go to Edge of Spider-Verse issue 3, the 2023 Edge of Spider-Verse series. The issue kicks off with Spider-Boy jumping around the city saying, "Hello, New York, it's me, the next big thing, your favorite short king. I'm back. Did you miss me? Well, did you?" As the New Yorkers look on and they're all like, "Who is that? Did someone shrink Spider-Man? If he's Spider-Man, where are his web shooters?" The way he jumps around, he's probably the human flea or something. He then lands on top of a building saying, "Wow." So it's not just Peter and the other spider heroes who don't remember him. All of New York has magically forgotten that Spider-Boy ever existed. He then says, "Well, that bites. It took me 3 years to build up my rep. That's almost a third of my life." He then changes into civilian clothes saying, "Deep breath, Spidey B. Don't freak out. There's got to be an answer for all of this. And just because nobody knows you as the Webless Wonder, that doesn't mean they won't recognize you in your civilian identity." As he takes off his mask, with us seeing his face for the very first time, seeing he is indeed a very young, cute little redheaded boy. But also a big takeaway from this is the fact that he called himself the Webless Wonder, which is why on the page before, people in the city were asking where are his webs, meaning Spider-Boy doesn't have webs like the other spider heroes. Instead, he bounces and jumps around, being the Webless Wonder. He then pulls his phone out of his bag and sees that it says emergency calls only, with him being like, "What? My plan is up to date, isn't it? How long have I been gone?" Now in his civilian clothes, he says, "Now I just need some face-to-face with someone I know." And when he spots Aunt May, he says, "Bingo." He goes down to say hi, but she has no idea who he is, which weirds him out even more. He then goes to the Feast Food Center owned by Mr. Negative, and it's the same thing, with the locker he has there being empty. But when he touches the locker, his spider sense goes off. He sees a girl being chased by Mr. Negative's goons. So he finds the girl and easily takes out Mr. Negative's goons, but gets frustrated because they don't remember him either, and that's annoying because he's beaten them several times in the past. Anyway, he finds out that the girl and her family are staying at a shelter, and at the shelter she found a key to Mr. Negative's safe, which has a lot of money. Hence Mr. Negative's goons wanting it back. Spider-Boy tells her, "Stealing is stealing, give it back." But not before he ruins the key, balling it up, throwing it away, saying, "There, now no one has it." Spider-Boy then reveals himself to the girl saying, "My name is Bailey Briggs." And she says, "My name is Christina Zhu." Spider-Boy, just wanting someone to know who he is, goes back to the family center with her and eats with her and her family. This brings us to Spider-Man issue 8, where halfway through the issue, we see Spider SpiderBoy jumping around New York City saying, "Unfreaking believable. I've been bouncing around town for hours and I can't find a scrap of proof to show I ever existed in this world. Nobody's ever seen or heard of me as either SpiderBoy or as Bailey. I'm getting a strong vibe in this direction, but what does a burned down building have to do with me?" He then touches the building using his spider sense, asking, "What's your story?" Which very much reminds me of the sense echo ability that we see Cal Kestis use in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Anyway, SpiderBoy then touches the building and says, "It's not about me at all. I'm only getting a reading because Peter was here, as Peter and him were partners." He then gets a reading on where Peter is going and goes after him, saying he's about to do something monumentally stupid and reckless. And it's gonna be up to me to fix it. Again, barely back in existence, and this is how I'm spending my Thursday. Typical. Then in issue 9, on his way to find Peter, SpiderBoy has a brief run-in with Norman Osborn, aka the Gold Goblin. Goblin asks who he is, with SpiderBoy replying, "Right now, out of the two of us, I'm Spider-Man's best choice for ground support." Norman asks, "Oh really, I'm supposed to trust Spider-Man's safety to an unknown child?" SpiderBoy replies, "Unknown? I've been doing this for years. I'm Spider-Man's partner." Norman asks, "His what?" SpiderBoy says, "You're gonna make me say it, aren't you? Fine, I'm his sidekick. Now be a good former psychopath and get to work. My pal's got all of New York screaming in his head. How long do you think he's got before he pops?" He's saying this because Peter Parker's spider sense is overloading, which is gonna make his brain explode eventually. Anyway, this all leads to the most current appearance of SpiderBoy in issue 10 of Spider-Man. In the issue, we see Peter Parker coming into confrontation with Electro, and he's not feeling too well, giving all the stuff going on with the spider sense overloading his mind. And Electro is just about to go in for the kill, but SpiderBoy shows up saying, "Tagging in," as he kicks Electro across the face, knocking him to the floor. Parker then looks up at SpiderBoy saying, "You're the kid from the end of that last Spider-Verse mess. Why aren't you back in your world?" SpiderBoy replies, "Last time. This is my world. I am your sidekick." Spider-Man says, "My what?" SpiderBoy then tells him, "You don't remember, but we have a whole history. This happened before. You tried to change your Spidey sense so it worked more like mine, but you couldn't handle it. So it was up to me to bail you out. Again." Telling us yet again these two have a long history, and SpiderBoy is indeed somehow from the main 616 Earth. But also, he has such a good spider sense, Spider-Man in the past tried to mimic it, causing his spider sense to freak out like it is now. At this point, Spider-Man and SpiderBoy team up to take down Electro, with SpiderBoy eventually getting on Electro's shoulders, revealing he has fangs as he bites Electro in the neck. Spider-Man says, "Did you just..." SpiderBoy finishes his sentence saying, "Kill him? If I did, your spider sense would have gone nuts. Did it? No. It's paralyzing venom. He's fine." Revealing yet another ability. SpiderBoy has fangs with paralyzing venom. SpiderBoy then says, "Well, web him up and leave one of your courtesy of your friendly neighborhood spider team cards. You don't have cards? Man, you're lost without me." SpiderBoy then runs to a rooftop saying to himself, "I can't get over the fact that I'm back to a world where Spidey is cool with Norman Osborn, but not me. How messed up is that?" Spider-Man then catches up with him saying, "Hold it right there, kid." Putting his Spider-Man light on him, with SpiderBoy saying, "Hey, easy with the light show. My eyes are super sensitive." "How did you get ahead of me?" "Right. You web-slinged. You know, one of these days you're finally gonna give me a pair of web shooters. Is that why you're here? You realize I proved myself? I get the full upgrade?" Spider-Man says, "No, exactly the opposite. It's over. I don't care what you say or do. There is no world, there never was or will be, where I have a sidekick." SpiderBoy says, "But we..." Spider-Man then says, "No, there is no we. We're done." As the issue ends with a tease for the next issue saying, "SpiderBoy, no more." Guys, I gotta say, this new SpiderBoy character is awesome, and I really love the dynamic he's bringing. I can't wait for issue 11 of the series to see what happens when he finally squares off with his apparent partner. It's very interesting that nobody remembers him, but he's been around forever. I also like all of his new abilities. He clearly has a better spider sense and paralyzing fangs, much like Spider-Man 2099, and he doesn't have web shooters to swing yet, as Peter Parker hasn't given him a set of web shooters. So I'm really liking everything they're doing and the whole dynamic they're setting up. But what do you guys think of SpiderBoy? Are you digging the character and story? Let us know down in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.